Hi friends, I'm Scott Giles, minister, hypnotist, and the guy who shows you how to get help from the other side. The other side is the mental and spiritual world, and you access them through your unconscious mind, the greatest goal-achieving mechanism ever evolved. You don't have to stay stuck or ill or be unhappy. There is a power that can help. Well, today I want to talk about how you can use self-hypnotism to protect yourself from negativity. And man, negativity is all around us these days. As far as we can tell by looking at ancient skeletons and such, the human body has stopped evolving. It stopped somewhere in the late Stone Age when humanity developed clothing and harnessed fire. Therefore, our nervous system is evolved to deal with the stresses of a Neolithic campsite, not the complicated world we live in today. Every day, you face social and economic pressures that were unheard of in the time of your distant ancestors. The rise of the 24-hour news cycle we live with today has made everything worse because the only news that gets reported is bad news, and you hear about it just about whenever you turn on your TV or open a social media app. We were never evolved to deal with this kind of bombardment of negativity. Now, probably, like most people, you feel empathy for the suffering of others. We're designed that way. We have what are called mirror neurons in our brain that fire when we see someone else having difficulty. We literally feel their pain. Well, this helps us too because it prepares our brain to deal with any similar situation that might happen. It still has a negative impact on our feelings and our sense of safety and security. And the more such information makes its way to us, the worse we feel. That's probably why so many people walk around feeling bad these days, and why illnesses that have a stress-related component are everywhere ascendant and filling doctors' offices and emergency rooms. It's getting pretty bad out there. So how does a philosophical person cope? How do we keep ourselves strong when faced with all the stories of hardship experienced by others? Because make no mistake, the more you know about the hardship of others, the more your own mirror neurons will fire and you will feel bad. And there are some responses to this that are just poor responses. One of these is to isolate yourself and just not pay attention to the suffering of others. Now, there is a place for this option. I will sometimes tell my clients in the initial stage of a scary illness to do what I call a news fast. That is, avoid paying attention to the news. Maybe once a day, glance at a news summary so you can find out if there's a hurricane on the way or something. But apart from that, let your neurological system rest. However, in the long term, simple avoidance isn't a great idea. Because if good people do nothing, bad people will rule. Or you could find that such information makes you feel powerless, and so you avoid it for that reason. I mean, you can't do much to affect the bad situation others are in, so to avoid the feeling of powerlessness, you keep yourself distracted from looking at it. But this is also a mistake, because having compassion for someone doesn't mean you're obligated to fix whatever is wrong. It just means that you see them. Another option that is less than ideal is to feel guilty that you're better off than someone who is struggling. Some will say, consider your privilege, meaning that you have an advantage that others didn't have it. That may be true, but it can lead you to pull back from charity, kindness, philanthropy, action, and more because you don't want to seem grandiose. Never dim your own light to make someone else comfortable. Bad things can happen to anyone at any time. The fact that you're in a better place than someone else is not blameworthy, nor does it mean that you're better than they are. You simply have luck on your side. However, when all is said and done, the fact remains that in today's world, we swim in a river of negativity, and it can easily mess us up. But there is something that you can do. You can learn to use the power of your mind to control your life. And the best way to do that is to master your inner world. That way you can be compassionate, but not let your perception of the difficulty others face contaminate your own thinking and mood. And that's huge, because it's easy to get upset when you're confronted with negativity. It's de-energizing. And I sometimes think that bad people count on that so that others don't stand up for themselves. But you have a power, and I want you to learn to use it. Hypnotism is the most effective and efficient way to use the power of your unconscious mind. And of course, I'm going to say the best way to use hypnosis is to consult a professional hypnotist. But you can do a lot on your own. There are thousands of ways to do effective self-hypnosis. But one of the simplest is to just sit quietly for a few minutes where you will not be disturbed. Close your eyes, but elevate them. Look up slightly behind your closed eyelids. Like 20 degrees is considered the ideal. This activates a part of your brain called the hippocampal cortex. Then, once you've sat quietly, eyes closed but slightly elevated, you use imagination to image yourself protected. Some people will imagine themselves in a bubble of protective light. I used to imagine myself in a suit of medieval armor. I have a client who imagines the presence of a Patronus, the protective power animal from the Harry Potter books. It doesn't matter what you choose. The core idea is quiet, eyes closed with elevation, as you do want to stimulate that optic nerve as it ties to the hippocampus, and then to imagine some protective image. Just hold that for 5 minutes or so. It's simple, it's easy, and it works. You're sending your unconscious mind an image of personal protection and strength. And your unconscious mind is powerful, but it cannot distinguish reality from a powerfully held image. So imagining yourself strong and protected will help you resist the negativity that is everywhere these days. Try it. The image of protection works quickly to affect your mood. Just do it for a week, 5 minutes a day, for a week, and you will be amazed. Hey, thank you for your time and attention today. I'll be back next week with another talk on a different subject. If you're wondering if I can be of help to you, consider working directly with me. We can work in person or online. Feel free to reach out through my website, for a complimentary, no obligation discovery call, and always use the full power of your mind because you deserve it.